Hi guys, so today for lesson 2 we are going to do the letter tab. And the letter tab is my favorite. It's the one I use constantly. It's what we get our software for, let's be honest. If nothing else, you're going to do some lettering. You may have all these, even if you're doing your company logo and you bought the machine to do your jackets or shirts or whatever, that you're going to use lettering for that option to add a name, to add your logo, all that. So we are going to, oops, let me go ahead and tell you what we're doing, opening our software, yay! So double click on your desktop icon and then double click on the embroidery once the pop-up hits, and that'll open up our software. And we can go ahead and click on blank canvas, and let's do a 180 by 130 hoop and say okay. All right, so here we are. We're on our software. Oh, let me put my grid on so you guys will see what it normally looks like. And let's switch to our letter tabs. Go ahead and click on our letter tab. And this will bring up a ribbon bar with all your font and letter options. So the first box is the font box. And this scrolls up, obviously. This scrolls down. And this button right here is called the Show All button. So whenever I say click on Show All, this is what I'm talking about. So we're going to click on that. And inside here, it's going to show all of your fonts that you have available to use within the software. A lot of times I'm going to tell you the category. This up here in the top left is the category. So if I say category, go to category applique, you're going to go here, or traditional, and you're going to scroll down. And this is alphabetical towards left. So national, we're on script, and then there's traditional. So that's the category. And then this, of course, is the font. And if you notice, certain fonts have different sizes. So like Antonia has 3 different sizes. So when I tell you in a written lesson or on here, go to Antonio 10 to 20, you're going to want to choose that. And what the 10 to 20 means is that this font is digitized to make to the sizes of between 10 millimeters and 20 millimeters. You can go a bit smaller if you have to. So let's say this one right here, Arial, it only goes to 20 millimeters. You can push it to probably about 25 millimeters, but I would not go anything above that. And as far as small as it goes is 8 millimeters, and I definitely wouldn't go past 6. I would choose a different font that was actually digitized for that size. Some fonts you cannot go a lot bigger, and the reason is they are satin stitching. So the Antonia is a satin stitch, and it only goes up to 35 millimeters. That means that after 35 millimeters, your satin stitching is going to be too wide to actually be a good stitch. So you've really got to watch that. The ones that are larger fonts, like Story up to 60 millimeters, that is either a very narrow font for satin stitch or it's going to be that pattern fill. And we're going to go over that in a little bit, how to do that. Um, we have lots and lots of fonts that were installed, but the one that is my favorite is myFonts. Now, I've gotten a new computer, so I don't have as many fonts on here as I normally do. But for the most part, I normally have this full, way fuller than what I have it now. And that is my favorite thing. And we are going to go over Quickfonts because there's a lot to it. It's not just as simple as you think it is. I mean, it's simple, but sometimes it just doesn't work. Okay, so that's how you choose a font that's already installed. Font Manager lets you go into the fonts and kind of that's where you'll find your quick font and all that. Name changer, we'll get to that. This is your size, so once you type something in the box and you tell it what size you want, so we'll increase it to 25. So I'm on Antonio, I typed in hello and 25. Gap is the distance between each letter. So increasing that moves the letters further apart from each other. Shrinking that number puts them closer together. That's going to be used a lot with your script writing. The percent width, I will show you what that is, and vertical, we're going to do that. This is your shape for your block. We're going to show all, and you have tons of shapes you can use. Shapes are really cool because it makes the letters how you into that shape. You can also freehand do that, and I will show you that. Reversed, if you were doing felting, you may want to reverse it. Individual. Individual can be useful if you want to make your letters like a specific stature, like you want your A to be really big, but then all the rest of the letters to be the same size. You can do individual so you can control that, and I'll show you that as well. Connection, trim, or running stitch. Let's be honest, we all normally do trim, and we can also adjust this in our software or on our machine. Sorry, guys. Color sort. Color sort is just that. This, if you wanted to do multiple fonts and multiple fonts for letters, so like your A is a different font, your B is a different font, whatever, and you want them to, all the ones that are the same color to stitch out that way, you can click on color sort. Stitch type. Satin column is the only option you have with that one. Alignment, right justified or left justified, center, and right justified. Spacing, that's how much distance is between each line. And then apply sets your changes. So we're going to go ahead and say hello, and we're going to hit apply. So there it is. It's exactly what we want. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to increase the gap for those letters, and we're going to do it again. So now, same height, same everything, but it's wider because the distance between the letters is bigger. Horizontal percentage. So this is going to keep the height the same, but it's going to squish it together. So I will show you that. So we're going to increase this to, oh, let's decrease it. My bad, sorry. I'm going to decrease it to 83. Why not? And I'm going to say apply. So now the letters are the exact same height. See? They're the same height. But see how it's just, let's move it over here where it's supposed to be. See how it just moves those narrower together and kind of just squishes it. And the distance between the letters is the same. Or no, yeah, kind of. The letters are just a little bit smaller but taller, or the same height. Okay, anyway, so let's change that back to 100. And now we're going to do the height. Now we're going to make this drastic. We're going to go down to 50. Okay, and we're going to say apply. So it keeps it, that did not keep it the same percentage. Oh, I didn't change my gap. Okay. All right, let's do this again. No wonder everything's looking weird. Okay, hello, there we go. Now it's the same width, but it's skished way down. So that's what those are. Let's redo this one. This was the horizontal percentage, so we're going to change it because I totally screwed that one up. Okay, gap's at 0 now. Now we're going to apply. Oh. Okay, this is going to change. We had it at 83. We're going to do it to 50. All right, I will get it together here in a second. All right, there we go. Now it's the same height, and it's really squished together. So, but the distance between the letters pretty much stays constant. I'm not changing the gap. So watch what happens. So we're going to change this back to 100. And the gap this time, we're going to do a negative. And we're going to do negative 10. Oops. That so did not work out the way I wanted it to. Okay. So negative 10. And then we're going to say apply. So now remember, our horizontal is the same. Our vertical is the same. It's at 100%. But now we're just squishing the letters together. See what happens? The difference between that, so this we changed the gap to be a positive number, so the letters were further apart. This one keeps the exact same height and the distance correct between them, but squishes them together. And this one keeps everything the same, the vertical, the horizontal, but then it turns around and squishes the letters together. Now, I do kind of like that. I think it's kind of cute, but this would be the better option if you were going that route. This now looks like mellow. instead of hello. And that was the one where we just squished them shorter. Okay, so that's playing with the gap and the horizontal percentage and the vertical percentage. So we'll line them all back up. Okay. All right, so reverse, I'll go ahead and we're going to set all this back to normal and it actually doesn't mirror it. It actually just reverses the word, right? Yeah, because every letter isn't the same. It doesn't actually mirror it. To mirror it, let's see. There used to be like a little, I wonder if I zoom in if it'll pop up. Oh, I know how to do it. You'd think I never used this software before. Okay, so if we fix the stitches, then we get this little thing and then we can mirror it. So now that wouldn't work either. Hold on, get rid of that. Okay, let's do it to this one. So, okay, put that back. Undo. Okay, reverse, all it does is reverse the actual word. So everything stays correct in the way, but it now says ole versus hello. Okay, to actually mirror it, you first have to fix the stitches because, oh, here, hold on. Okay, so let me explain this real quick. Sometimes it's just a lot. Okay, so notice the little green handles on the corners. Everything's green. This means that it is not a stitch file. It is still a workable file. So I can drag this and it's going to change the stitch amount. I wouldn't do that, but so I went from 1878 to I think it was 2000 and something. So it is going to automatically calculate the stitches for you, okay? Because it's not a stitch file. Once it's fixed as stitches so that we can edit it and modify or flip it like I wanted to, we now have white boxes. And this means that if you drag it and stuff, notice that that number didn't change. Okay, so we'll do it again. So the stitch count is 1911, but when I do this, it gets bigger and I now have room between my stitches and the stitch did not change. The stitch count did not change. So make sure when you're editing things that if you're in white, you realize that it's not automatically going to change that stitch count. There is a resize option on the home tab, and we'll do that with something else besides lettering, but just keep that in mind. Okay, so now if we wanted to reverse the word or mirror the word for felting, we would fix the stitches and then we would just click this letter or this little triangle and that will completely change it. So it's completely backwards. So this was reverse. This is completely mirrored and backwards. Okay? Okay. And then our best friend, the undo button, we'll go ahead and undo that so we're back to normal. Okay. So now we're going to do a shape. So you see the little green handles and we discussed how you can alter it and everything and it changes the stitch count and everything. So we're going to do this little weird shape right here and it's called zigzag. And we're going to say apply. And it takes the letters. Let's move you over here. Okay, it takes the letter and it makes that shape. This is one of the really cool things about what we can do with our software. So we're going to go back and we're going to go back to horizontal and we're going to say apply. Now, oops, I forgot to take off reverse. Okay, try again. There we go. Okay, so now notice that there's this little yellow box. If you click on the little yellow box, you get options: straight, diamond, double diamond, arch, curve. We're going to choose curve because it gives us a lot of little points. Okay, so now I had 4 points and now I have 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. And watch what you can do. You can take these and you can drag them like that, but you can also drag them like that. So you can start filling, it's part of that word art and you can start making them specific. There's also, so right now I'm on force even distribution. I can take that off and I can do constraint free. Once I do constraint free, I literally can do pretty much whatever I want. Every little, and that one will rotate me. Okay, so that is how you access that. And there are so many of these options. And when we do in the create tab, when we do the word art, we will do more of this. But for now, I just kind of wanted to point to kind of show you. Okay. All right. Alignment is in effect when you do more words. So, hello. Let's see. Hello. Let's do goodbye. Okay. So if we do left justified and we say apply, they're going to line up on this left side. Obviously, if we hit center, they're going to center between the two. And then, oops, it helps to make a change. Right justified is the same, only it justifies on the right. So depending on what you want to do, you may want to do that. And then spacing. Let's crank up the spacing so that you can see it pretty good. And then we're going to go ahead and do center, and we're going to hit apply. And now they're way far apart. So now I can stick them like that. So you can see that that spacing affects how much distance is between there. Okay, so recap. How you choose your font that's installed. Here is your show all. Let's do that again. So scroll up one at a time, scroll down one at a time, show all. Your categories are to the left and are alphabetical towards the categories. Each font has a size that should be its size limited. You can go slightly above and slightly below, but I would not go too far. Okay, click off that. Font manager, we're going to do that. Name changer, we're going to do that here in a minute. This is our letter box. This is where we type in what we want to say. Just like on word processor, you hit enter to go to the next line if that's what you want to do. If you don't want to, you just keep typing in a straight line. This is your size select. You want it to be between those two numbers, 15 and 35. That gives you the best stitch out. Gap, that's where we change how much distance is between each of our letters. So this had a normal gap and this had a bigger gap. This one down here had a negative gap. So normal, positive gap, negative gap. Horizontal percent does not change the height, but changes the width. So nothing changed. I didn't move the letters closer or anything. All I did was the percentage of the width. So that's going to do that. And then this is the opposite. This is the vertical. So it's going to change the height, not the width. So the width remained. The height did not. This was where you chose a shape. The shape we did was this one, the zigzag. And then reverse. Reverse does not mirror the word. It simply takes each letter and just reverses the order. Oh, we didn't do individual. Let me get rid of goodbye real quick. Individual, notice that the boxes are orange. So it is combined at this moment. When I click off and choose the letter individually, I can make individual changes. So this is still a lowercase letter, but I made it bigger and all the other ones stayed the same. Or I could even make the O bigger as well. So that's individual. Connection we went over. Color sort we went over. When it's selected, it will color sort. It's already color sort, so we don't have that problem. Stitch type, all these are sat in columns, so there's no other options. Alignment, that was where we did left justify, right justify. So there's right justify, left justify, and center. And then spacing. The spacing affects the distance between words or lines of text. So we have this really big distance. Apply sets our changes. Everything on here, remember, is our design panel, and we went over that kind of in our get to know your software. So this over here shows us all the things we did, and see how the individual one we did, it actually lists each letter individually. Okay, so that is the letter tab in a nutshell. Pretty easy, pretty fun. But now we're going to get into the font manager where we're going to show some other things. So I'm going to clear my screen and I'm going to come to my home tab and I'm going to select all and I'm going to hit the delete key on my keyboard and it all disappears. Yay! Okay, now we're going to go into the font manager. Font manager is where you go if you want to see all the fonts without having to do the show all, and it'll give you a nice little display of what it looks like. It'll tell you its name, it'll give you its category, its minimum and maximum, and you can insert it straight from here. Do you believe? Maybe not. Yep. All right. It's weird. You would think you would be able to hit apply, which is bizarre. You can also search for a font. You can search, let's say, Arial, I think is one. Enter, and it will pull up anything that says Arial. So I have Arial Patch, I have Nearest Point Arial, I have Traditional Arial, and two sizes of that. And then I can clear it, and that's going to bring it. You can also do by size, and you can adjust the size, and it'll put any font that's within that size limit. You can also hide all installed fonts, so you'll only see my fonts that I've created on this computer. So I've done a bunch of love ones for Heart Day, Valentine's Day, and just a couple of different ones. So one of the things you can do on here too is, so if you notice, I have this Loveness 2 pattern fill and take 2. This one I don't really like. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the delete button. It says this will remove your font and cannot be undone. Do you want to continue? Yes. Okay. So if you ever create a font that you don't like or didn't turn out well, and you just don't want it anymore, you come into your font manager, choose your My Fonts, and you can delete them. That is so nice because you used to have to go in through a really crazy way to get rid of any fonts, but now you can just do that, which is really awesome. Yay! Okay, so that's kind of how and you can also duplicate it. I don't know why you'd ever want to do that, but whatever. You can also change its category if you wanted to. I don't. I try to leave them in that unless I've totally screwed up. So I'm going to actually put this one into my fonts. And I'm going to say apply. And there it goes. Now it's where it's supposed to be. So pretty cool. You can do all kinds of things on this screen. And the best thing you can do on the screen is Quickfont. I'm going to go over this really quick. Import font from embroideries. What is that? This is where you go when you buy fonts. So you know how you can go out to embroiders.com, just Etsy, wherever, and you can find a pre-made font. And it says something like you get 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch. So they've digitized it in 3 different sizes. When you do import font from embroideries, you no longer have to bring the font in 1 letter at a time like you do from the company. So when I buy an Etsy font, it comes to me and I have to bring in each individual letter and then I have to line them up and do all that. If you put them in your software and you import them, you then are able to use your letters box to type in what you want it to say from that purchased font, and it will put it just like your quick fonts or your installed or your pre-installed fonts. So this is really neat. I will show you how to do this later on. It'll be a separate video just for this because you know it's not everyone wants to do it. It's very tedious. It's really cool once it's done, but it's a tedious process. Digitize new font. We will do this, but we will not do it today. But we are going to do Quickfont. Yay, my favorite thing. Okay, so you can make an embroidered font from any installed font on your computer, and you can install thousands of fonts on your computer. You can buy fonts, you can get them free. There's just tons of ways. And I'm going to do another video specific to going out there and getting a font, installing the font, and all of that, and showing you how to do what are called glyphs, because glyphs needs a character map, and I will show you how to get your character map and all that in a separate video. But not everybody wants to do that. But everybody wants to do Quickfont. So I'm going to go grab a font, and I'm going to choose one that you should have installed on any Windows computer. I am running Windows 11, so I did hide my very bottom bar, because if you don't have Windows 11, it looks really different from Windows 10, so I just kind of didn't. And every time you upgrade your Windows or you get a new Windows, a lot of times you get fonts that are new. So I know that Rockwell is one that normally is loaded, and I think it is. That might come with Word. Anyway, it really depends what you have installed on your computer. Hopefully you have this one. It's extra bold, so this makes a great one for what we're going to do. So this font, I know, stitches out really good. It looks good. So this is why we're choosing this one. And then I'm going to show you a bad one. So style, regular. You can do bold, italic, bold, italic. It's already bold, so we're going to leave it as regular. Now, file type. If you have the free software and you're using Quickfont on there, you can only do for using on my embroidery machine, I think, unless they change that. I'm not 100% sure. But any other version of the software besides free, you can do both. For using in mySewnet embroidery system, it's going to add it to your My Fonts on your font choice. For using on my embroidery machine, makes you determine a size. So it's going to say 1 inch. So it's only going to give you the 1 inch letters. This would be like if you're doing like a craft show and you want to do monogramming or any type of font customizing on site. So you're at a craft show, you have your machine, and somebody says, I want my initials. You're going to show them what fonts you have on your machine, and you're going to do it. That just keeps you from having to bring your computer. They're laptops. It's not that hard. I rarely use this. Okay, I never use it. I'll be honest, I never use it. I always use it for my embroidery system. Okay, machine Viking or FOF, that's going to correlate with this embroidery machine. It's going to either create you a FOF file or a Viking file, but we're not going to worry about that. Character set. I do extended. There's Latin, there's super extended, there's all kinds of stuff, but we're going to stick with extended, and we're going to say next. Oh, by the way, what extended means is it's going to include your periods, your exclamation marks, your numbers, any common symbols. Super extended, that's going to give you where you have your glyphs and like little wingdings, I guess, things like that. Hebrew, Greek, these are going to be different, and it will depend upon the font and what your computer is set at. Okay. Satin, oh gosh, doesn't it look horrible? This is one of the things you have to watch. Certain fonts do not look good in satin. They just don't. Watch what happens when I change to pattern fill. So much better. This font is a large font. It's going to look better in that pattern fill. You could also do applique. This is one that would be great for applique, and every time you change, so here's my applique color. It's that peach color, and then it has this red outline. It is not, and then you would do your border stitch options, and it's a line. Standard applique, pre-cut piece. Okay, so hold on a second. Okay, so applique. So we've got our applique, and this is a basically line stitch. So it's not going to put that satin line around it. When we do our stitch options for applique is going to give you the applique method. So you can do standard applique where it puts it down put your fabric down, or oh my gosh, placement stitch, put the fabric down, tack down stitch, trim around your fabric, and then it finishes off. Pre-cut piece, if you have a template or send it to a cutter. Pre-placed piece is kind of the same thing as pre-cut piece. And cutout is going to be where you actually are going to cut out where the applique is. Match placement line or margin. And we'll go over that later. Border stitch options. So I don't have a choice besides line. So I'm going to change, you can't really change your width and your density and then say okay. But it's not, well, it did change it. I don't know what I really changed it to. It's kind of weird. You can do a satin border. That looks good. Maybe, oh, maybe that's what that is. Oh, it is. Satin line. Okay. We're going to back up. Okay. So go back to applique. Border stitch options. It does say satin line. Apparently, it was set at an extreme minimal. With a font this big, you want to do something pretty nice. And the density. I always like a really thick density unless I'm doing small letters. Small letters, the tiny little tiny letters, if you do the density at 2, it's just going to be a mess. So with those itty bitty teeny tiny letters, you want the density number to be a bigger number. You want it to be less dense. The less dense it is, the bigger the number is. The more dense it is, the smaller the number is. So 5 is going to be less dense than 2. So 2 is thicker than 5. So those itty bitty teeny tiny ones, you're going to want to do between a 4 and a 5. But since this is a nice big one, we're going to do density as 2, and we're going to say okay. And that's going to put a nice thick satin border around our letters. Output size, if we were doing the to my embroidery machine, this is where I would choose where I wanted them to go. The output size range for this, notice my minimum. My minimum output size is 80 millimeters. So that's about 3 inches. Yeah, see, 3.5 inches. And 120 is going to be your max, which is almost 5 inches. So you could probably crank that up a little bit. I generally do what the computer says, but I want this at 5 inches, and I know it's going to handle it because it is an applique, and applique can get really big, so I'm not worried about it. Joining point, you can choose baseline. All letters will join at the bottom. Nearest point, it's going to jump to where the nearest letter is. So if this A ended, so if your capital A land was next and your lowercase a was your next letter and it ended here, it's going to jump right here where this one starts. So this would be the start, this would be the end would jump directly to the start. So that would be nearest point. Continuous, this is for cursive or script writing. It's going to not have a break between it. It's just going to keep going. Thread color, you can change your thread color if you want to. Border thread color, you can come in here and change it. I never do this. But you can. And then applique color, you can change what color that applique is. And we're going to do that peapod again. And so now I have very, very bright neon green lettering. Yay! All right, hit next. This is going to generate our font. So once it's done, it's going to name it. And it's going to name it Rockwell Extra Bold. R is for regular, so it's not bold or italic. It's regular. A is for applique. Oh my gosh. Wow. So depending upon your pattern fill, everything, that's where that comes from. And we'll see that in the next one. E is extended. 80 to 30 is the size. So you can leave that as you want it, or you can leave it however you want. So like on mine, what I normally do is I normally do the name of it and then I do applique because that's what it is. And I'll show you what I do with the other ones. Okay, my embroidery, it wants to change it, save it to script, but that's not happening. So I'm going to change it to my fonts. If I was using it for my embroidery machine, this is where you would save it. This would light up and you would choose this and you could save it where you want it. Print catalog. Print catalog is pretty cool. This would be if you had your own business or something. And I'm going to put it to a PDF really quick so you can see what it does. Just going to put that on my desktop. Name it. me save that. Okay, so what that did was it created my catalog, and I'm going to take you there and show it to you in a minute. You can also go through each letter this way. And the reason this exists is because some letters do not look good. I've had a font where I absolutely loved the A, B, and C that you originally see. And I was like, oh, I love these. But I think I needed like the letter W or some weird letter. And I went to it and it was just terrible. So that whole entire thing I did just was a waste because the letter I wanted didn't look good. So that's another thing about printing the catalog. This is an easy way for you to go look at the fonts or show them to somebody. So they may see a few letters and be like, oh, I really like that, but the letter they need isn't great. So you can show them or show yourself what specific letters are going to do. And I'm going to show you that in here in a minute, but first we're going to do this new font, return to start to make another font when I click finish. We want to do that because I want to create another font. But first I'm going to show you that font or that PDF. Okay, so it comes in and it says, this is what you're going to see. It shows all the characters and everything that are allowed to see and what they look like. Okay, I thought they actually showed you. I wonder if they changed that. Now I'm going to have to go find out. All right, it did not exactly do what I thought it would do. But it does show you these little things, and this is your character map, which is cool. It does show you your character map. It doesn't show you the fonts, but it does show you your character map. It really bothers me, though. Okay, stop thinking about it. I'll have to go figure it out. All right. I've been wrong all these years. That'd be crazy. Be kind of funny, too. Okay, so anyway, so you can scroll through and see all the different font letters to see what they look like. Stitched out. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click finish, and it's going to open, it's going to save to my fonts and open another one back up. All right, so now we're going to choose one that, let's do this one, this Go script. Okay, so this is a script one. We're going to keep with the regular style. Before you send it, we're going to do extend in, we're going to hit next. Okay, we're not going to do applique on this one. We are going to do set in line. Okay, not bad. Yay! Okay, so this is what I was talking about with satin. Notice the size is quite small. It does not get very big. See, some of these like are weird, and we can correct that, and I will do a video on how to correct that and fix it. But for today, we're just kind of doing it. Okay, joining point, we want continuous. We're going to leave the thread color. We're going to hit next. And it's going to think and think and think. Okay, so here's our script. And we're not going to put it in script. We're going to put it in my fonts. And we are going to change this font to satin. Okay. I'm going to do print catalog just one more time just to see. Okay, I promise. All right, just to see. Okay, so then I'm going to hit next, and I'm going to be like, ooh, I don't like that F, and E's a little wonky on here. Next, H. I'm not sure how that's going to stitch out. I kind of like it, kind of don't. Next, yeah, that's all right. The N, I don't like it. The O looks good. I like the O. R's, okay. Q's a little weird. P, I like a lot. Next. That does not look like an S. Just saying. That might. We'll see what it looks like in a letter. All right. W, I'm not fond of that. Do like that though. All right. And then you can keep going and you can see more and more of what they look like. Okay. So then we're going to hit finish. It's going to save my font. Did I do print catalog? Yeah, I did. Okay. All right. So we've done an applique a script. And now we're going to do one more because this is where it gets really fun. And we're going to choose, let's see, let's do Lucida. All right, everything's the same. We're going to hit next. The stitch options, stitch, we're going to choose a pattern fill. Now, did you notice all the choices? You have satin, which we've done, pattern fill, which we're going to do. Pattern fill plus satin border does exactly what we're doing. It adds a satin border around it, which is really what you do for those athletic letters that are so popular. Satin border just puts the border around it without anything else. Applique we did, and outline just does a stitched outline, not a satin border outline, but an actual double or triple stitch outline. Okay. So then we're going to do pattern fill stitch options. Okay, this is where it gets fun. This is where you can choose whatever pattern you want. And we're going to come up here because there's so many. And I like, let's see, I like a lot of these. I love pattern fills. I use them a lot. If you took my gnome classes, you guys saw me do this a lot with those. Let's do... I don't think the arrows are going to show up, but let's try it. Okay, they're not arrows, they're darts. My bad. Okay, so we're going to do this. The density I'm going to do is 2 because I love density, or being thick and nice and just looks good. I do have my angle weird. I'm going to turn it back to 0. My underlay I'm going to do low because I'm just going to be using this on a cotton. I'm not going to use a towel. If I was using something with a nap, like fleece or terry cloth, I might change that. Well, I will change that underlay to high or medium because that's going to lay down a nice base for it so that it holds all those fibers down really nicely before it stitches the actual design on there. Compensation, I'm not going to worry about. We'll go over that later in other videos, and we're going to say okay. And then it's going to show us a preview of what ours looks like. And I'm going to change the thread color. Let's see if we can see it better on green. A little bit better on green. So you see the little darts in there? Okay, so now I'm going to hit next. And I've got Lucida console. And this time I'm going to do I keep calling them arrows, dart pattern fill. This way I know what I've put on it because I might like this font and I might use this one and I might put hearts on it. I might put whatever I want on it. And then I'm going to hit next and I'm going to go through. And this is a good font. This is a fun font that looks good, looks clean. I like it a lot. What? I messed up with the R. I'm not loving the R. But for the rest of it, it all looks pretty good. I'm very happy with this font. I like it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit finish. And this time I'm going to uncheck that box because we are done with this and say finish. Okay, so now we have new fonts. So we're going to go close and we're going to go check out our new fonts. Show all my fonts. Okay, did I not save those in my fonts? Oh man, where did I put them? Okay, let's go back to the font manager and search. So let's search, and that one was missing. So there it is. Oh, I guess it took a minute because they're there. Let's try this again. So that one's there. What was the last one? See, this is what happens. See, everybody, just remember, it's just not you, it's me too. All right, Lucida. We're going to search for that. There it is. It went in script. So now what do? We're going to move it. Remember how we can do that? Yay! So I'm going to put it back in my fonts where I originally wanted it, but totally got in a rush. Now we're going to say apply, and that's going to put it back in my fonts. And I'm going to close this. There it is, and that's the one it chose. So we're going to do hello again, and this, we're going to do it at 50. Okay, guys, I will tell you one thing right now. We should have added the size to mine. Totally forgot about that part. It's days like this. But anyway, so see, you can see it really good. It has the little arrows in it. Super cute. And apparently I did baseline or continuous or something. I don't know exactly what I did here. Okay, delete that. All right, so I wanted to show you the script one. Okay, hello, and apply. Now, notice how there is a distance between each letter. We don't want that. So this is where that gap comes in. I'm going to turn that off. This is where that gap comes in, and we're going to go to a negative, and we're going to say apply. Okay, that's better. So now see how they're joined. Now, let's say that I didn't want to delete it. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it one more time, and I'll put this back to 0. And I'm going to say apply. Okay, that failed. What on earth? Okay, let me see, make sure I'm not crazy. Okay, I know what it was. Because I had it done in individual, it separated each letter. Okay, that's why. I was like, wait a minute. But that's why that happens. Okay, so let's do this again. If you wouldn't have chosen continuous, it would not do that, and you'd have to use the gap. All right, back to what I was trying to do. Okay, hello. There it is. Nice and big. All right, we get it on our hoop, and we're like, oh, man, I don't want that size. I want it to be bigger. We can't go a whole lot bigger because this is a satin, but we can go bigger. But instead of deleting it off and reapplying it and changing it up here, what I can do is I can right-click on it. That brings up another one, and it says Edit Lettering. So I can come in here, and I can change my size without having to delete. And we're going to go up to, let's do 20. And we're going to leave everything the same, and we're going to change the shape. And we're going to do kind of a circle clockwise. No, arch. Where's that arch one? Maybe that is it. I thought it was called arch. Maybe not. We'll do that one. And that's all fine. We don't have to worry about spacing. And we're going to say, okay. Yay. Okay. So they're separated a little bit. But if we shrink them, no, still not going to do it. All right, let's try doing the gap. See if that fixes it. Oops, negative. Okay. Almost there. Let's see if it does. And just a little bit more. But see, isn't this much easier than deleting and trying to do that again? So, and let's try that. Hey, so now it looks like a cursive script hello in a little arch. And then this little thingy, drag it to whatever corner you want. Okay. So, and then we can put it where we want. Put it over here. Okay. So we can do that, which is super fun. All right, let's see. So what all have we gone over? We've gone over Quickfont, how to do the different fonts, how to delete fonts, how to put fonts in different folders when you screw up like I did. Let's see what else. Oh, name changer. Okay, so we're going to get rid of hello. And we're going to do, let's do Peyton. And then let's do this. And we're going to say, let's change our font. Let's do the other one we did. Okay, say apply. Okay. All right. So number one, I want those letters much closer. So we're going to go into edit lettering, and we are going to change our gap, and we're going to drop that gap. Say okay. Still some more. Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. So now I have my name that I wanted, which is my daughter's name in this case, Peyton. And I'm going to do a whole bunch. I have 4 kids. So I want this exact font, this exact same way, only I want them in different names. So I'm going to click on Name Changer. Okay. So my name, so I have Peyton. And then I'm going to do Brody because that's going to work. And then I'm going going to do Chris. Don't tell him. He'll be mad. And Bastion. Don't tell him either. He hates when I call him that. Okay. And then we're going to export those. So what it did was it did Peyton, Brody, which we don't call him that either, Chris, which we don't call him Bastion. Okay. So then we're going to do that. Bastion turned out pretty good. All right. Let's see what happens when you put their actual names. Let's see how big we can go. Oh, see, we'll be outside. Oops. I totally messed up his name. There we go. We're outside of it. That's okay. So this is going to determine a lot too, because you probably want to start out with your longest name. Because so far, all my kids' names aren't fitting, except for Peyton. Yeah. And it says it's too large, so it won't let you do it. You can edit in a new window, so I can make it smaller. And I can cycle through each one of the names to see them. Peyton's the only one that fits. But once I would do export, which I'm going to change these so you can see them. So I highly recommend starting with your longest name so you can get the size correct. Oops. Okay. So then we're going to hit export. We're going to choose the file format that we want. So VP4, VP3, PS, all these. If your machine, you want to choose the format that your machine will use. Most Vikings will do VP3, HUS, DST, VIP. Some will do VP3 only and DST. DST is your universal format. So if you're out there shopping for embroidery designs and they don't have VP3, HUS, VP4, anything like that, and you don't want to convert it, if you grab the DST, it is a universal. I will tell you, it has weird colors. So if you like the design and you wanted to keep those colors, I would definitely take a screenshot of it, because once you get the design, it's going to be in some funky colors. But we'll go ahead and do VP3 just for the heck of it. It says okay. I save my designs in kind of like documents. And then in the documents, I have different things. So like the Block of the Month Club, Broderick's quilt that I've never finished, classes if I'm doing a class, a specific class, door hanging designs. So I will actually file them away. There's Gnome of the Month, a gingerbread house that I was doing, just Lego creations. It just really depends. And Lego creations, by the way, is not embroidery designs. It's a game. So I'm not doing anything illegal and copywriting stuff. It's actually a game. So, you know, quilted table runner, you know, everything. I'm working on a red truck. So all kinds of different things. And that's how I do mine. So I'm going to put this one in. I'll just put it on my desktop for now because I'm not keeping this. And I'm going to untitle it names. Oops. Oh, caps lock's on. Names for scarves. Because I'm going to make them scarves and put their names on it. Not really. But, and then I'm going to say save. And it's going to save those files to my desktop. And then I will show you. And it saves each individual file so that I can come out there and grab each one. I thought that was a pretty cool new thing that the update just did. I love it. I could really see doing this, especially if, you know, you wanted to do that kind of same design over and over again, but new names. It's such a time saver. You don't have to worry about, oh, this one is this size, this one's this size. You take the longest name, you make it that size, and all the rest will follow suit. So very awesome. Let's see. We did the little thing with the circles. So certain shapes give you certain controls. Circles give you controls to move it all around. And make it smaller. Let's do it smaller. Oops, too small. There we go. Anyway, so if this is a lot of fun to play with. The lettering is so editable. I mean, you can do so much with it. you can just, your imagination is your limit. If you can think it, you can probably figure out how to do it. Um, but this is the letter tab. That's Quickfont. It's so simple. And like I said, some things we're going to come in here and we're going to fine tune. Like in the font manager, we will come back and do the import from embroideries. We'll do digitizing a new font. And in Quickfont, we're even going to edit that font. So we will have a font that we created, but it's just not quite what we want, and we will edit it. So, and that's edit digitized font. So those will be other videos that you can come back and watch on the specific things. They'll be, geared towards just that, not the whole letter tab. It's just that one thing. This is just kind of getting you what everything is, where it is, and how kind of to use it. All right, so that's the letter tab and the font manager name changer. I think it's fun. Go ahead and play with it to your heart's content. And, let me know if you have questions, or if you want something specific, if you want me to do a specific video on something because you want to see how to do it. Put it in the comments and let me know. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Check back next Thursday for a new video.